Rockford's Young Eagles Success or Yes Club kicked off the new year with a celebration at Rockford Public Library's Nordlof Center. Monday night's Speak It, Sing It event was held in honor of Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. It was free and opened for the public, and attendees were treated to a variety of songs and dance and poetry, sharing messages of peace, character, excellence, and diversity. Leaders with the Yes Club say holding events like these can help area youth discover their potential.
The youth is our future, so it is very important that they discover their worth at a really young age and they're able to discover their potential, who they are, and the impact that they can have on the world, whether positive or negative. But the Yes Club encourages them to have a positive impact.